Hey, I'm Sarah. I've always hated staying in hotels. Something about them just creeps me out. Maybe it's the thought of how many strangers have been there before me. But nothing could have prepared me for what happened during a work trip last year. I was in a small town in Vermont, staying at this old roadside inn called the Maplewood Lodge. It wasn't fancy, but it was clean and the staff was friendly. My room was on the second floor, and it had this cozy, rustic vibe. At first, it felt fine. That night, after a long day of meetings, I was exhausted and ready to crash. I locked the door, turned off the lights, and got into bed. The room was so quiet, I could hear the hum of the air conditioner and the occasional creak of the old wooden floorboards. Around 2 a.m., I woke up. I wasn't sure why. There was no loud noise or anything. But I had this strange, uneasy feeling, like I wasn't alone. The room was pitch black, except for the faint glow of the clock on the nightstand. I lay there, trying to convince myself it was just my imagination, but then I heard it, a faint, shuffling sound. It was coming from under the bed. My heart started pounding, but I didn't move. I told myself it was probably just the air conditioner rattling something or maybe a mouse. But then the shuffling stopped, and I heard something even worse, breathing. It was shallow and raspy, like someone struggling to take in air. It wasn't coming from the air conditioner. It was coming from directly below me. I froze, too scared to move or even breathe. My mind raced with possibilities. Was it an animal? A person? Should I get up and run? Then, slowly, the bed began to shift. It was subtle at first, like something was pressing up against the mattress from below. That's when I knew. Something was under the bed. I reached for my phone on the nightstand, trying to move as quietly as possible. My hands were shaking so badly that I almost dropped it. I turned on the flashlight and, against every instinct screaming at me not to, leaned over the side of the bed to look underneath. For a moment, I saw nothing, just darkness. And then, the light caught it. A face, pale, with hollow eyes and a twisted smile, staring back at me from the shadows. I screamed and scrambled off the bed, running to the door. My hands fumbled with the lock as I felt this heavy thud, like something had crawled out from under the bed and hit the floor. I didn't look back. I flung the door open and bolted down the hallway to the lobby. The night clerk looked at me like I was insane as I gasped out what had happened. He grabbed a key and followed me back to the room, but when we got there, nothing. The room was empty. The bed was undisturbed, and there was no sign of anyone or anything. I checked out immediately, drove to a 24-hour diner, and stayed there until sunrise. A few days later, I couldn't shake the feeling that I needed answers. I looked up the Maplewood Lodge and found out something chilling. Years ago, a man staying in that same room had gone missing. His body was eventually found, under the bed. I still don't know what I saw that night. Was it him? Something else? I'll never stay in a hotel alone again, though. And if you ever hear something under your bed, don't look.